Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Greg's coming to you again on the 26th of December 2020 with another update, update number 2 on this Nashville bombing. And I got a question. Was it really the RV, the source of the bombing? There is some video that purports to show an alternate source. It's kind of hard to tell, to be honest, so I can't say for sure one way or the other. As I reported in my previous update a little bit ago, they've already identified a potential suspect. Is this a setup? Is it real? I don't know. We're going to talk about that. And what does all this mean? Where could it go? What's been the precedence? What you need to know. Well, my friends, wow. Is this indicative of more things to come? Is it indicative of greater strife that's going on in this country? What does that mean for you? You know, I come here all the time telling you to keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. And I affectionately call my subscribers the swivel heads because I think you're pretty good at that. That's when you come here. And also, I do teach you things in my videos about how to eat for free out of the weeds and trees and that grow around you. I'll be covering more of that, especially when I start operating more out of the Southwest. So it'll give me more national coverage of different things that you can do. And I have other liberties out there because I'm going to have 40 acres to play on and other adjacent properties that I have access to. Maybe 160. But my friends, the key thing is that you need to get ready. You need to prepare because, you know, this whole year has just been a, you know what, burger. And there are indications that 2021 might be anything but fun. So what I'm going to have to suggest to you is to get ready. Do that. You know, I've done videos on going to the big box stores, get your stuff, but I have a special deal right now. You can get a 25-year storage food that's freeze dried, that's lightweight, easy to carry, and a nice, easy to carry bucket that you can use for other things when you deplete what's inside of it. And it comes with these nice little pouches that you can throw in your backpack to buck out easily. Unlike big cans, which, you know, sometimes I like cans for bugging out, but only a very few. You throw a lot of these in and carry them easily because you don't want to be too weighted down when you're out going around. Now, all that said, so what you get is 2,000 calories a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and $100 off, or you get 2 boxes like that, you'll be a winner. And go to prepwithgreg.com to find that deal, prepwithgreg.com. And when you're in there and look at that deal, also check the big My Patriot Supply logo. If you click on that, you find tons of other prepping supplies that you may well need with what's coming up. So check it out. And I've said enough about that. So I'm going to show you a video in a minute. And let's puzzle through this and figure out what this is. This video. Okay, hang on a minute. I've got to do something before I show the video. I'm going to do the unshare here because this stuff is kind of persnickety. I got to hit the share button again. There we go. Here we go. This is a video from Parlor, and it's not going to blow up very well, and it's not going to be a little bit hard to see what's going on here. But this video from Iceman purports to show that the RV is over here and the source of the explosion is a different place. Now, this video is so grainy, that's a little bit more than I can discern and make out myself. But that's white. It looks kind of like an RV. It looks kind of like a shadow there, or a piece of smoke. Maybe it's already going on. Maybe it's already broke. But some people have said there was a black, I have heard others allege a black vehicle was involved. This is an allegement. I don't know. But this obviously doesn't look like a white vehicle. There's a white vehicle. That's a car. Whatever's here doesn't even look as big as that. Is that an RV? Well, maybe it'd be easier to tell if the guy hadn't drawn such a tight circle around it, right? And what are all these little points? You know, I can't read this. We're going to try to blow it up, but I don't think it blows up. I mean, this is as big as we're going to get this video for what we're doing here. Let me back it up here again. And let's play and see what we see here. Watch. Just playing several times, just kind of repeat. Start it one more time. So there's no sound. The objects are far away. Well, if this is the RV, then it doesn't look like it's the source, providing that this is the actual explosion. Is this actually the streets there in Nashville? Where did this cam view come from? I don't know. This is interesting. That is definitely not an RV right there. It's smaller. It looks like it's smaller than the car here. So this is a highly curious video. Maybe some of you have got access to better cam views. And just the way it brightens up, it looks like it starts out with some kind of gas going up before it goes into full explosion. It's a really bright explosion right here in the center, but if that's the RV, it turns red. So this does look like the source of an explosion. So what's going on? Are we in for a setup? Is Mr. Anthony Quinn Warner being made a patsy? Was he taken out? Did he commit suicide? Did he do the bombing? Was it really his RV? You know, here's where they're searching his home. ATF and everybody else. That's the street that it occurred on before the event, I think. No, that's after that. This window's blowed out here, but that's further. Must be further up the street. Oh, that window's blowed out. A lot of windows got blown out. There's the ATV going into the house. I think it's like this basement view right there from what I've seen on here. Oh, interesting looking face. So, stop the share for just a moment here. If he did this, he might have committed suicide. Whatever the case is, here's what we know. We know that at 6:30 in the morning, Christmas Day, an explosion took place. Most of us that lost service hours later, around noon. I lost a cell phone service. Now, that explosion took place, you know, what, 36 and a half hours ago now. The cell went out about 3.5 hours later. Mine's still out from about 31 hours ago. So this has had broad implications. I'm 2 hours away here in South Alabama. Apparently, this took out cell service in regions of Kentucky, where the 101st Airborne's at, down here in Huntsville, Alabama, where the Missile Command and NASA Center. It took out cell phone service and took out 911. Plus, it caused flights to be shut down, flying out of the Nashville International Airport. So international flights were shut down, air traffic was shut down, 911 service for Skagit counties, and AT&T phone service over broad regions had been taken out. This was huge in terms of an infrastructure hit. Was this a dry run? Whatever the case was, it was a smart move in terms of being able to hit critical infrastructure. Some suggest that that wasn't even necessarily the target. It was something on the political side of things. Now, I will show you a link to some of that. I mentioned some of that in my previous video. Check out my previous 2 videos on this. So why in the world would it be that, you know, you would bomb something, but the cell phone service wouldn't go out for 3.5, 4 hours later? Well, I was wondering if there was a hack attack that followed the physical attack. Now, that's kind of what we typically expect in the power grid defense community. As you can see, I've chaired 2 power grid defense conferences. We typically expect stuff like that there'd be a multi-pronged attack. And there may have been a multi-pronged attack that may explain the breadth of the outages. But an alternate explanation is that the data center there at the AT&T facility was running on a backup generator. It was fueled by propane, and that the propane lasted for about 3.5 or 4 hours and ran out. But then I got to ask, why would you only have that long? You know, there's a lot of times you get power outages that last for a day or longer. Why would such a critical facility have such a short supply of backup power? I do system safety on the avionics, what we call a space launch system now, Artemis launch vehicle, and we have redundancy as part of any critical system. All critical systems have to have redundancy, and it needs to be a very robust redundancy. This is not robust by any means for such a critical infrastructure. So that's highly curious in itself. So it makes me really wonder, is that legit? I mean, you would expect to have backup power, but only that long? Why? Why have they not got it restarted? If it worked till the power ran out, and now today is Saturday, and Saturday's almost gone, why couldn't they have replenished the fuel and rebooted the system? I've heard it was the fires occurring there later inside the data center, but friends, I don't know. This is why can't they reconnect, reroute, and repatch the network to get more people up? Why am I still down when I'm 2 hours drive away? I'm a good distance from Nashville. Why is my communication still down? Good questions. I don't have the answers for them, but think about it. But there's more to it than all this. I'm just reporting the outage aspect of it. Now, let's go back to who did it. Who done it? The who done it. Not good English, right? But that's how it's put. Who done it? Anthony Quinn Warner has been a suspect. Some people allege that he's members of this group or that group. Most recently, there are those that have been alleging he's a member of Antifa, but I haven't seen nothing to substantiate that. I've seen claims of it. Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. He was a 63-year-old white man. Okay, I went to BLM rally, and I saw a couple of guys that was older than me, white guys that were members of BLM. I put that on my channel. I did the video on it, remember? I walked around the courthouse and I saw a guy sitting on a bench and said, "Hey, where's the riots?" I had a little fun with it, you know. And going to the riots, you got to have a little fun with it. But, yeah, but this is pretty serious. This is really serious. I mean, this, you're disrupting international flights, you're hitting critical infrastructure, and it's down almost 2 days now. Why? And did he do it? And is this guy being set up as a patsy? Was he taken out? Was he taken out as a cover-up? Was this whole thing with the van, the RV, just something to distract us? Oh, it's here, it's here. Okay, we got this thing that blew up. It was there. We got human remains, blah, 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 blah. Well, now, wait a minute. That van's not there now, or the RV's not there now. So did it must have got blown up or something happened to it. So was there another explosion and it blew up? Did it burn after this blew up? I don't know. It's not, a lot of these things are strange. Was that video from a whole different city in a whole different country, and somebody said, "Oh, well, this is it," and maybe that was something else that we're just making a claim to fame. Maybe it was the RV. Maybe he was in it. Maybe he did commit suicide, or maybe he's fishing off the Florida Keys, and maybe the RV's right down there with him. Well, I'm not going back to Nashville right now. They'll bug me to death. I ain't got time to be questioned. I'm having too much fun fishing. I don't know. I don't know. But here's the thing. This was a very sophisticated attack, because it seems, because it took down so much infrastructure. Who would know a little shop in the middle of Nashville, Tennessee could have such a wide effect? Was it done for that effect? Was it done as a dry run to test what could be done? If so, then what we see is our infrastructure outside the power grid that I talk about, this is in the comms world, is huge and vast and very linked and requires a lot of support. And what we're saying is it's vulnerable, just to put it short. Our communications infrastructure, our water infrastructure, every element of our infrastructure is really vulnerable. You take out certain key pieces, the effects are widespread. Don't you know everybody just took note of this? It's like, whoa, they just did that, and this is what happened. Wow. Yeah, we know what we can do now. Yeah, see what that does. The other downside is it going, hey, I just got a bus. I'm going to set it up as an RV. Or am I going to be dealing with all kind of junk now? Going to be RV control? I mean, come on. What is coming now? Yeah, I'm not happy with that, not by any means. Are they going to be, every time you drive around the block, somebody's going to stop you and have to board you, make sure you're not loaded up with something or other that they're worried about? Gummy bears, mistletoe. I don't know. Or ammonium nitrate. I hope not. I hope not. because that's ridiculous. I mean, we got plenty of fine people driving around in RVs and living in them, which is something I'm planning to engage into to some degrees. I'm going back and forth between my farms. All right, enough said. Let's go back to some of this other material here. Let's go back to share screen. We can go back here, bang. So what I worry about is this. If I can get this screen off here, I'm worried about the case like Mr. Richard Jewell. Mr. Richard Jewell was working as a security guard in Centennial Olympic Park when they had a bomb in there during the Olympics that took place in Atlanta, Georgia, the 1996 Summer Olympics. He saw the bomb, was trying to protect people, but then he got blamed for it. He was trying to be the good guy, but now, this guy's the first guy we know as a socialist, so let's blame him for it. And his life was ruined. The media tried him and convicted him, as they're so often do. And of course, the FBI and everybody else is all over him. His life was destroyed, literally destroyed. Probably left him in bad health. You can see he only lasted a few years after that. And he was, 2 years younger than me, but he didn't last much after this event happened to him. I imagine it caused him all kind of sickness and the stress. And it turned out he didn't do it. He was trying to be the good guy. And the good guy got spanked for being a good guy. The man who did it's this guy, Eric Rudolph, not Richard Jewell, because Eric Rudolph even confessed to it. Mr. Eric Rudolph's the man that went up and hid in the mountains for quite a few years and survived like nobody thought was possible. Mr. Richard Jewell didn't do it, but he sure took the blame. Are we seeing something like that? I'm just asking, is this a setup to avoid what really went down? Here's where the blast happened, looking straight down. This is when New York Times, they added their little art to it to talk about area blast, extent of debris and fallen trees. And see, here's this big AT&T transmission building. Big building, a lot of infrastructure there. And you can see they had a lot going on in the building. Just you can figure it out from all the coolers they got up here. And across the street from it was a fondue shop. So maybe the guy was just upset because he got bad fondue one day. Hey, you fondue shop owners, yeah, make sure you always serve good fondue. No, I don't think that was it. This was too sophisticated of an attack. But now here's what. There's all kind of claims and counterclaims. I'm not vouching for or against. I'm not even going to verbalize it because I kind of sort of said a magic word in my last video, and it took a while for it to get cleared by the platform. So I'm going to be careful not to say these words because I wasn't going on either side of it. I wasn't even talking about the kind of things that they will knock you down for. I was just making a mention. And here is a visual mention of that suggests that this AT&T center was involved in this thing right here. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that might make it a target. Might. I said might. To some. Maybe there were some who wanted to stop something or cover something up. And it's also, this says one side would have done it. There's allegations that the other side done it for various and sundry reasons. So who was this Mr. Anthony Warner? Anthony Quinn Warner. You always list all three of his names. Why? Who was he, really? Or who is he? And was he actually involved in this? I don't know. We're going to find out more in the coming days. I'm just, like I said, I'm just hoping it don't come up being a case like this poor gentleman here. Of course, that gentleman lived past this accusation, but not for long. It may be that Mr. Warner is no longer with us. We don't know. That's what's being alleged. Some saying that he did a suicide bombing. Did he? Or was he suicided? We don't know. Stop the share. So what happened? What happened? You just saw the video that purports that it wasn't the RV, at least not initially, that there was some other source. It went boom. Did the RV just catch fire and burn? Maybe it had enough fuel to make sure it burned well. Well, there'll be a lot of forensics coming out, so we can look at that and see, does it really make sense? Where was the RV actually parked at? What was the damage in that area versus the damage across the street. I mean, you can tell from the way things fell where a blast originates. It's not rocket science. And I might know something about that. Allegedly, I am a rocket scientist, right? So most people say, well, most people that are in engineering, then rocket said there's no such thing as rocket scientists. We're rocket engineers. But you know, so what's a scientist do? He proposes a theory or a postulate that he comes up with a hypothesis and test it and test it and test it. He sets up a control group and a test group. And he runs his test, making sure the only deviance between the control group and the test group is the one little thing he's looking for. We actually did that quite a bit with our hybrid rocket fuel that we were developing for our altitude liftoff program. Therefore, that makes myself and all the guys who are involved in our Halo program and Heart companies actual rocket scientists. We made a Guinness Book of World Records. The spinoff of our the fruits of our labor were many things. There were a couple of companies, well, actually about 3 companies spun off from it. And hybrid rockets to be launched at high altitude is what we were developing. We developed multiple fuels. We were building everything with a single bulkhead between the oxidizer tank and the fuel tank. Something that Bert Rutan later patented and claimed was his greatest invention that we'd been doing for 10 years prior. But yeah, our guys worked for him. He just took credit, got Paul Allen to give him money for that, and went on to win X Prize. And now the Virgin Galactic system is based on, it's a descendant of these technologies that we were developing, for better or worse. I have mixed opinions about that. Maybe I'll talk about that on Galactic Rays in the not too distant future. All that said, yeah, I was making a joke about the rocket science. So I just thought I'd point out, yeah, I am a rocket scientist. Okay, so you can do forensic analysis, and it's not that deadgum hard. If you can tell which way the trees fell, which way the debris fell, was scattered out, but where the impacts are, it's easy to do. I mean, even after you sweep the streets up, you could almost walk through there and see these things and do back tracing for every little impact point. If you're, okay, what points did it come back to? Where did all these ray back to? And you can find out. You can find out where that explosion originated. No matter what they report, you know, unless they go by and re-drill every hole. Zzz. Yeah, I don't see it. Well, if they do that, you're going to see them doing it. They can't really hide that. So, yeah, well, you know, a good person can go in there and figure out what actually happened in terms of where this originated, the boom, the explosion. It's doable. Are they right? Was it the van, the RV? I mean, keep calling it van. Was it the RV? Or was it some little black car that somebody said it was? We'll see what they report. And I know other people will be on the ground checking it out. And we know there will be alternate hypotheses and theories and out the wazoo, probably 22 million of them, and probably all of them wrong. So, you know, I have the opinion that, you know, there's so many opinions that only one can be right, and the probability is they're all wrong. All right, so the truth of the matter is, we're going to learn a lot more about this. We're going to see a lot more about it. That video is highly suspect in terms of, if that video is correct, that would suggest that there is an alternate source. And if there is an alternate source and everybody's going down the road blaming it on the RV, you tell me, what was it? Who was it? They set this up just to cover up what they're really doing? And if so, what is it they were really doing? Go do the analysis for yourself. Check it out. Come up with what you think. You know, I will be reporting on this more as we go along because it's a mystery. Got to be careful what I say about it because we don't have, you know, what's a minute given to us by the number 1 amendment doesn't exist on all platforms, if you know what I mean. Some of us are working on that. You know, I started the Freedom Restoration Foundation. You can join it. We have a Facebook group, link below, but that's not an actual join the group because that can get away in an instant and we may not have traceability. We won't have traceability to everybody signed up in that platform through that platform. Best way is to email us at info@freedomrestorationfoundation.org. and put freedom in the subject line. If you're interested in the survival tribes I've often talked about, put same email, tribe in the subject line. Links below. Also links to the prepwithgreg.com and the tree leaf market. You can support my channel by supporting those things, but I do ask that you share my videos, you subscribe, bang that notification bell, and click all so you can see all the stuff I'll be bringing, including updates on this topic as we learn more. You know, I may not do them on an hour-by-hour basis. I can't have a day job and many other things to do, but I will bring you updates and things I see and find out about this. There's a lot coming out. There's a lot of allegations right now already. The rumor mills are cranking up and everything else is cranking to full tilt and will for weeks and days and months to come. But hopefully we can peer through the smoke. We can sort the wheat from the chaff and figure out what is good and true. That's the objective here, so we know what's coming. But always keep your eyes wide open and head on swivel, because we're living in interesting times, my friends. With that, I will say, as always, usually unless I mess up, sometimes I accidentally cut off my video early. But my friends, thank you very much and I appreciate everyone who watches my videos, all my subscribers. So many of you have become like family. So we've been commenting and chatting, especially the live chats along. So I just got to really say a hearty thank you for watching.